Okay, the second half of the review is on page 245. Okay, so it says graph by plotting points. I'm not going to go through this. We've seen this plenty of times. To get it into y equals, so this would be y equals negative x plus 7, and then you'd make an xy chart and plug in points. And right here, once again, you'd get it into y equals mx plus b form or y equals form. You know what though? Sometimes that even is harder than just plugging in. If this is graph by plotting points, remember, we can literally just go x, y, pick some values, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and plug them in and then solve for y. That's almost easier. But graphing by finding intercepts, there's a couple different ways to do it. Once again, if you're asked to graph by finding intercepts, you are still just graphing by plotting points, but you have to do the x and y intercepts. Just remember, x-intercept is when y equals 0. The y-intercept is when x equals 0. So you have to start there. So let's plug in 0 for y. So that'd be 5x plus 3 times 0 equals 30. So then we'd have 5x equals 30, so x must equal 6. And then plug in 0 for x. So that'd be 5 times 0 plus 3y equals 30. So then 3y equals 30, so y equals 10. So notice I have my x and y intercept. And then from there, that's not quite enough points. So then you just pick a couple points. I usually pick something between the two values. So maybe like plugging in a 1 for x and a 2. And then just plugging it in 5 times 1 and then subtract 5 and then divide by 3. So the key is showing this and this part. Okay? Same here, right? This is finding x, solve by finding intercepts. I would do the same thing. I'd say, okay, I gotta do y-intercept, which is x-intercept when y is 0, y-intercept when x equals 0, and then we would have 3/4 x minus 1/2 times 0 equals 1. 3/4 x equals 1. Now people get stuck on how to solve here, but I don't know why. What undoes divide by 4? Times by 4. Then we have 3x equals 1 times 4 is 4, divided by 3, so 4/3. Now when if you were gonna graph this, you would use a decimal, you'd type in 4 divided by 3, so it's easier to graph that. So let's plug in 0 for x, that would be 3/4 times 0 minus 1/2 y equals 1, negative 1/2 y equals 1, so I would times that by 2, negative 1 y equals 2, divided by negative 1, so y equals negative 2. Don't let fractions throw you off either. So there's our x and y intercepts, and then you plot a couple more points by just plugging in values. Pretty straightforward. Okay, this says graph x equals 4. Just a reminder, just go to that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's x equals 4. And since it doesn't say anything about y, that must be a straight line going through x equals 4. Okay, it says graph y equals negative 8. So I would just go to y equals negative 8. Looks like it's down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't say anything about x, so x must be anything. So that's that. Pretty easy stuff if you just do it that way. Okay, let's read number 13. A phone company offers a plan for long-distance calls that charge $5 per month plus 7 cents per minute. The monthly long-distance cost, C for taking x minutes, is given by the linear function. It doesn't give you the function. Cost is equal to 0.07x plus 5. It says, what is the implied domain? That means what is our input? What's our x value stand for? Well, think about it. Right here it says x is minutes. So you'd say minutes. Minutes talked. Then it says what is the cost if a person made 235 minutes worth of long distance calls? You would go 0.07 times 235 plus 5, and you would just type it into your calculator. It says graph the linear function. You could just do a rough sketch. So our y-intercept is up at 5, and then our slope is up 0.7 over 1, 0.07 over 1. So once again, the rough sketch. So then isn't our first 0 or up at 5? So that means they're definitely paying $5 no matter what, correct? Even at time 0, well, that makes sense. The plan is going to cost $5, but then after that, an additional amount for talking on the phone. It says in 1 month, how many minutes were used if the cost was 75 that month? So this time we're putting 75 on the outside because that was the cost equals 0.07x plus 5. So you subtract 5, 70 equals 0.07x, then divide by 0.07, divide by 0.07. So then you would just type that into your calculator. And that is how many minutes that person must have talked. I didn't calculate that I think you get the picture. So it says find and interpret the slope. Remember, slope is the average rate of change. So I'll try that. Average rate of change is, so do the, for this one, I would just, if you can, just do rise over run, positive, or you could do your little formula. So we could do, this is x, y, what comes first? This is our first point, second point. So we could do our slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The negatives, minusing negatives is usually where people make their error. That'd be 5/4. So you'd say the average rate of change is 5/4. Okay, it says what is the slope? Once again, make sure they're in order. X, y. Doesn't -1 come before 2? So if we were to graph this, this would be our first point. This would be our second point, and then just do your formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. -6 divided by 3 is -2. Our slope's -2. So same thing here, y2. These points are not in order, are they? So 0 comes before 4, so this is x1, y1. Almost tricked us, x2, y2. And they may not list them in order, so you got to really think about that. So then we're doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that would be 6 divided by 4, which is 3/2. Your slope's 3/2. Okay, graph, it says graph the line. So everybody, it says a point is -1 down 5. So I would literally go like this. We have a point on the graph which is at -1 down 5. So I go -1 down 5. And then our slope's up 4. So I go up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, and graph the line. Hopefully, even though it's a rough sketch, that helps make sense to you. So it says graph the line. M equals undefined. And our point is 2, -4. So let's go plot that point. Over 2 down 4. And then remember, undefined must mean what? Well, that means that there is a straight line like this, because that is considered undefined, because we can't have a line on top of itself. Well, we can, it's just not considered a function. So this is what undefined is. So that's what your line would look like, a straight vertical line. What's the equation of the line? So first of all, you'd say, okay, well, I need to figure out my slope. Lines have the form mx plus b. I need to figure out my slope. So you could either do the rise over the run, or even better, x1, y1, x2, y2, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, -4 over 8, which is -1/2. So now we would go and say y is equal to -1/2 x plus b. Now, we could do the plus b part 2 different ways. Couldn't we take an xy point and plug it in for x and y and solve for b? Absolutely. So because I have the graph and I know that plus b is the y-intercept, I'm just going to look with my eyeballs. But the algebra will always work. But so looking at this, over 0 up 2, our y-intercept is at plus 2. So y equals -1/2 x plus 2. But if you didn't have the graph, you would then plug in the xy points. One of the xy points and solve for b. Right here, for example, it says write the equation of a line that has a slope of -1 and passes through the point 3, 2. So you'd say y is equal to mx plus b. I know y is equal to -1x plus b. Plug in your xy point, xy. So we would have 2 equals -1 times 3 plus b. So 2 equals -3 plus b. So b must equal 5. So my final answer for 27 should be y equals -x plus 5. All right, same thing here. Looking at this one, you'd say, I gotta find my point. Now what's my first, I gotta find my slope. So y equals mx plus b, but I gotta find my slope first. Looks like this is my first point because 1 comes before 4, x1, y1, x2, y2, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So on top, it looks like I'm gonna have 6, and on bottom, am I gonna have 6? Yes. And on bottom, I'm going to have 3, so my slope is 2. So then you'd say y equals 2x plus b, and then plug in one of the xy points. So I'll just plug in this one, sure. So then y is -1 is equal to 2 times x. X is 4. So 2 times 4 plus b. So then I have -1 equals 8 plus b, so subtract 8. -9 equals b. So my answer is y is equal to, my slope was 2x, and then it looks like it was minus 9. Okay, great. So same idea for 29 as 31. Make sure that you would call this your first point, x1, y1, x2, y2. Find the slope, plug in an xy point. Okay, so I'm not going to do that one. It's too similar to 31. Okay, 33, it says find the slope and y-intercept. Since this is in y equals mx plus b form, it should be really quick for you. You should say the slope is 4, the y-intercept is negative 6. But remember, really, if we want to get full points, y-intercepts are listed as xy points. Now, y-intercept is when x equals 0, so 0, negative 6 is how we should write our y-intercept. Now, with this one, I would just get it into y equals mx plus b form, so I'd have y is equal to negative y, I'm going to subtract x, and then plus 4, right? Subtract x, and then I've reordered it, divide by negative 1. So y is equal to x minus 4, so my slope is 1, and my y-intercept is when x equals 0, 0, negative 4. So that's our y-intercept, the plus b. It says graph the lines, so we should be able to go down really quick. It doesn't say how, so we can just do it however we want. I'm going to graph it how I graph lines. So my y-intercept is at negative 6, up 2 over 1, 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 up 2 over 1. And we graphed that line. Then graph this one, it says, so we're at negative 3, and then our slope's down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Just make sure you check if it has a negative slope, make sure your line goes downhill. If it's a positive slope, it's a line that's facing uphill. So pretty easy. And because it didn't say by plotting points, I don't need to show any work. Okay, let's read 41. In 1996, 12% of U.S. federal tax returns were filed electronically. In 2001, approximately 30.7 were filed electronically. Assuming a linear relationship, find an equation that represents the information. Remember, I made an XY chart for this. We were given in year 1996, we had 12.6%, and in year 2001, we had 30.7. It's just like having two XY points. You say lines have the form y equals mx plus b. So now I find my slope. So you do y2. So everybody remember this is an x, y, x, y. So this is our first x, first y, second x, second y. So y2, so I'm finding the slope right now. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to grab a calculator. So we would have here 30.7 minus 12.6, 18.1 divided by 5. So that's your slope. Not a very pretty one, but that's okay. So then we could even just write down the decimal of that because it's a story problem. So 18.1 divided by 5. So it's 3.62. So now we have this. Y equals 3.62x plus b. And then remember, how do we find plus b? Plug in any xy point. So I'll just plug in that first one. xy. So that would be 12.6 equals 3.62x plus, oh, not x, right? X we're plugging in. So then times by 1996 plus b. And now we'll just go ahead and solve for b. So I'm going to go ahead and go 3.62 times 1996. Okay, 1 second. So right now I have this. I have 12.6 equals, I type that in, I get 7225.52 plus b. So then solve for b, I'd subtract 7225.52. Subtract 7225.52. So then 12.6 minus 725.52. And I get negative 7212.92. So there's your y-intercept. So now I can write my final answer. So y equals, m was 3.62, x, and now plus b is minus 712.92. So there's your equation. So now it says, predict the percent in year 2004. So you can literally just plug in 2004. I'm going to do 3.62 times 2004. And then hit enter, minus 7212.92. So it would be 41.56 was the population percent, right? That's a percent since these were percent. And this is interpret the slope. So you'd say average rate of change was 3.62. What year will the percent of electronic returns be 48.8? So you'd literally go 48.8 equals, and then you would go 3.62x minus 7212.92. Solve for x. So we'd add the 7212.92 over. So 48.8 plus 7212.92. Hit enter. Then we'll divide it by 3.62. So that'd be 2006. Year 2006. Not two shabs. All right. The slope of the line is 3/8, and then it says find the slope of a line that is parallel. So remember, a parallel line would have the same slope. So it says find the slope, it would be 3/8. Find the slope of the line that is perpendicular. Remember, you'd flip your sign, so it was positive, so our perpendicular line will be negative, and then reciprocate your fractions, flip your fractions, so 8/3. This line would be perpendicular, this would be the perpendicular slope. Okay, let's read number 45. Is it parallel or perpendicular? You'd want to get them into y equals mx plus b form. So right here I'm going to on top subtract x. So then I would have negative 3y equals negative x plus 9 divided by negative 3. So y equals 1/3 x minus 3. Okay, circle that. Let's do this one. Get it into y equals mx plus b, subtract 9x. So then we would have 3y equals negative 9x minus 3 divided by 3. So then y is equal to negative 1/3 x and then minus 1. Compare your slopes. Your slopes aren't the same and they're not reciprocal opposite. So this one would be neither. Neither parallel nor perpendicular. They're still going to cross. They're just not going to cross at perpendicular, the 90-degree angle. The same up here, get it into y equals mx plus b form. So the top one would become subtract 2x. So negative y equals negative 2x plus 3. Divided by negative 1, so y is equal to 2x minus 3, and same thing here, so add 6x, so I'm going to have 3y equals 6x divided by 3, so y equals 2x, they're the same slope, so these would be parallel. Awesome. Okay, it says write an equation for a line that's parallel to this line that passes through this xy point. So just a reminder, you'd say, okay, well, if it's parallel, then we would have negative 2x plus b. The slope should be the same, but now it's going to cross through that xy point. So 2 is equal to negative 2 times 1 plus b. 2 equals negative 2 plus b, so b equals 4. So my final answer is y is equal to negative 2x plus 4. All right, it says parallel to x equals negative 3 that passes through this line. Now let's think about this, or passes through this point. If x equals negative 3, what does that line look like here? X equals negative 3. So I go to x equals negative 3, and it's a straight line like this. Well, if it's parallel, then it's going to be a straight line up just like this one. So it passes through the point over 1 down 4. So now we know it's like this, and it's through the point over 1 down 4. So it would be what equation? This one you'd have to think about. That's why I give myself a visual aid. Well, what does x always equal? 1, right? X equals 1. That would be a parallel line. Which makes sense, guys. If you have x equals negative 3, the other equation to be parallel also would need to be x equals. Now the slopes are the same because they both have a slope of undefined. Okay, so it says find a line that is perpendicular to this and passes through this point. First, you'd want to get it into y equals mx plus b, so I'm going to subtract 3x. 4y equals negative 3x plus 6 divided by 4. So we have y is equal to negative 3/4 x, then it looks like plus 3/2. Okay, so fractions aren't going to scare us. So then in perpendicular, our new line will be y is equal to, it'll be positive 4/3, reciprocate opposite, x, and then plus b, and then we'll plug in our xy point. So it'll be negative 2 equals xy. So negative 2 equals 4/3 times by negative 3 plus b. So then think about it, we have negative 2 is equal to 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4 plus b. So then add 4. So 2 equals B. So our final answer would be y is equal to 4/3 x plus 2. Don't let fractions freak you out. Okay, so it says graph 55. Graph. So, well, 55 just says, are these solutions? So all you have to do is plug it in and see if it's a true statement. So if I plug in 5 times 4 plus 3 times -2, is that truly less than or equal to 15? Let's calculate. 20 minus 5, is that less than or equal to 15? Is 15 less than or equal to 15? Yes, it is. And then you'll just plug in these two and see if it's a true statement. So if it's below 15, yes. If it's greater than 15, no. This one says graph y is less than 3x minus 2. So remember your y-intercept is -2, up 1, 2, 3 over 1, up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3 over 1. And then this is a linear inequality. So remember you might have a dotted line or a solid line. Now this one's not including, so this one would be a dotted line. And then we're shading, it says y values below the line. So that would be, the shading would be for your solutions, everything shaded below the line. This would be your solution set. Okay, almost done here. So get it into, it says graph, or find the solutions, one or the other. Subtract 3x, subtract 3x. 4y is greater than -3x plus 20, divide by 4. So then y is greater than negative, and remember with inequalities, if you divide both sides or multiply both sides by a negative, you do need to change the sign of your inequality. We haven't done that, so -3/4 x plus 5, so my y-intercept is at 5, and then down 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, solid or dotted, this one is dotted, and then it reads y values greater than the line, so then my shading would then be above the line on this one. Okay, y value is greater than 5. Once again, just graph y equals 5. So I'm going to go up to y equals 5. So right here, so this must be a straight line. Now this must be a solid line because it's equal to. So I have my solid line, and then it says y value is greater than the line. So that would be above it. Almost there. Okay, looking at this one. I think we get the picture with number 61. Let's do number 62. So 8, we're going to x equals -8, which is right here, and then it looks like it's a dotted line. And it says x value is greater than the line. So that would be above the line. So that would be to the right. And the x value is greater than -8 would be this way. So there's our shading. Ethan's entertainment budget permits him to spend a max of $60 per month on movie tickets and music CDs. Movie tickets cost $7.50 and CDs cost $15. So this says, right, a linear inequality to represent the information. This is a really easy one, right? He needs to spend less than or equal to $15. Nope, $60. That's how much total he has. So let's let X be CDs. Let's let Y be movie tickets. Okay. So then if that's true, then it says movie tickets cost $7.50, so $7.50Y. I could have chose that to be X. It doesn't matter. And then plus 15X needs to be less than or equal to 60. So pretty straightforward story problems. It says, can even buy 5 movie tickets and 2 CD players? Just make sure you're plugging it in the correct thing. Movie tickets was Y. To do $7.50 times 5 plus 15 times 2. Is that less than or equal to 60? Let's take a gander. So 750 times 5, and then plus 30. So that's 6750. No, 6750 is not less than or equal to 60. No. So you'd say nope. And then in this one, we would do 2 movie tickets. So 750 times 2 and 2 music. So then plus 15 times 2. So that would be, is that less than or equal to 60? So that would be 15 plus 30, which is 45. 45 is less than or equal to 60, so the answer is yes. So the fundraiser, the Mountain Club agrees to sell candy bars and candles. The club's profit will be 50 cents for each candy bar and $2 for each candle it sells. The club needs to earn at least $1,000 in order to pay for an upcoming event. Right, the linear inequality that represents the inequality. Once again, really easy. That would be like 2x plus 50y needs to be less than or equal, needs to be greater than. They need at least that amount of money. They need to earn $1,000, so the amount they sell needs to be greater than or equal to 1,000. So just pay attention to the little details. And then just make sure after that you plug in the correct thing for X. X must have stood for candy bars, and then, oh, candles. X must have been candles, right? And then 50, oh, when I put 50, that looks like dollars, so I need to make sure to go 0.50y. So 50 cents for each candy bar. So Y must stand for candy bar. So then just plug it in and see if that's going to get them enough money, if that makes sense. All right, that's the end of part 2.